Welcome back. Now, in the last few months, there have been calls for Devolution Cabinet Secretary Waiguru to step aside. There's even been motions that have been introduced in Parliament to see that, take place. This morning, we're hosting the gentleman who has brought it the second time around. Only a few weeks ago, we had this motion in Parliament, and then about 17 members of Parliament, bailed out on it. But this morning, he's coming to tell us why he's insistent on it second time around, why he needs to see it succeed. And it's none other than Honorable Alfred Keter, the Member of Parliament for Nandi Hills. And Mutegi Inja, of course, is the one who will be leading that conversation. But a quick reminder, any questions you have in regards to this conversation, 22422 is the SMS line. Or you can get us on Twitter. The hashtag is Power Breakfast. We'd love to hear from you, so get communicating. For now, I hand you over to Mr. Njao. Mr. Njao?
Mr. Keter, Mheshimiwa, karibu.
Yes, thank you.
You are completely against Waiguru. This is the second time you want her impeached.
It is not a personal issue.
It is not a personal issue.
It is not personal. It is just about issues of concern to most Kenyans, that we're losing money in every ministry.
Just give us an account of what you think is a problem. The evil she's done, according to you.
Let me not get to the real issues that are touching on that, but I will a little bit, because it is a subject that is a matter that is before Parliament, and standing orders does not allow us to really go into it. But I know it has a lot of public interest. Let me say there are issues touching on resources that we are losing big time. That guys have started looting from National Youth Service and from Huduma centers. There were issues in the Youth Fund, IDP resettlements. The entire ministry there are issues all over the ministry.
In my estimation, what figures are involved?
For NYS, it is about 3.8 billion. What we are being told and what we are watching from the media and what we saw Waiguru saying, even stating on our own, is 800 million and 791 million. And then she's part of the whole thing. So we cannot expect so much from those we are accusing to give us the right figures. I expected Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to do an investigation, to come up with a serious investigation. But you see, one of the problems, Mutegi, is that institutions have failed. Institutions have failed. You saw the other day, CAD gave a report to Waiguru. Instead of investigating her, they went and have reported back to her. EACC, they did the same. They did a report and purported to have reported back to her, telling her that you have to be efficient on this. There is something that you're missing from this, and you need to fix things so that you avoid some future theft of public resources. Which to me, EACC is a body that is independent. They don't report even to the president. We were still questioning them why they did so early this year, March. And you remember when the president came to Parliament, stating very clearly that he has drawn a line between those who want to cross and loot public resources and those who want to remain steadfast and focus on improving the lives of Kenyans. He had a standing ovation in Parliament. I was not in Parliament that time. I was out of the country. I was in Poland attending an international conference. When I came back and look at the list, I was going through the list, 175 people who were accused. I realized there were a lot of politics, and I talked about it then. People were advised to step aside, investigation to go on. Once cleared, some will be reinstated back to office. Those who will be found guilty, then they should face the full force of law, go through courts and stuff. But later on, what we saw is that even those who are in court, C.S. Kamau and a few others, CEOs of different institutions, they have flimsy grounds against them. It is not like what we see in National Youth Service. But when it came a time when Waiguru was found, then the government, through even the spokesman, the government spokesman, went and started defending her, saying, oh, she's innocent, she's a whistleblower. Even in her own, she went to the media, she did a press conference and stated very clearly that there were no money lost. Only after a month to come back and say that we've lost 791 million. And I want to state very clearly to Kenyans that even at the moment, we are still losing money in National Youth Service as I speak. And I'm hoping that things will change within this week. They are still looting even to date.
But you are in Jubilee, URP and TNA, and you constitute what is called the train of numbers. You have attempted to impeach Waiguru first, and people walked out. They withdrew their signatures. First of all, explain that. How did that happen?
You see, there is a lot of intimidation when you show an intent to move a motion of this magnitude. If you ask Honorable Inturi, he went through hell. He was intimidated. They tried compromising him. They did a lot of things, and in a way, they might say they succeeded. They even tried members of parliament to back down or to slow down on the impeachment process. When they realized they could not get the numbers reduced, then they really did every stuff to Honorable Inturi. They went back to his constituency, and you remember the president was in Meru, and every speaker who spoke in Meru were trying to really tell him to back down. He's an enemy of Jubilee. They called him all names, and even me, I've gone through same process. But I said, if I withdraw, if I slow down, then what will happen to all these Kenyans? And Mutegi, while I was coming to this studio this morning, I found many Kenyans who are walking all the way to industrial area from Lavington, from Kawangware. There are many Kenyans who trek long distance to seek jobs. In some cases, they don't get jobs. I was imagining if I were to withdraw, what will happen to all these Kenyans who are hardworking, trying to earn a living?
Can you explain to me, those people who withdrew the signatures, have you talked to them?
Most of them. You know, when I found out that I was missing 17 signatures, because I at some point I had raised 97 members to support my motion. The 17 of them, some of them I met them, and they were like, we were seriously intimidated. Some were told, because there are national youth service projects in your constituencies, we will withdraw. Some women were told, because they ran those ways of fund, they were told, if you don't support us, then even the ways of funds.
Who is telling them now?
See, the system.
The system means what? Cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries?
I mean government, the executive. You know, the executive are really on this case. They have intimidated parliament, they have intimidated institutions. You saw even ESCC reporting back to Waiguru, which is, it is not just unethical, but it is wrong and immoral for an independent commission that is using public resources to play by...
I think one of the roles of Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is preventive.
They can prevent.
That probably they can argue that we are giving a workshop so that we prevent further looting in the ministry.
They can prevent, but if you see that case, they should have taken some witness statements from even Waiguru, if she is purporting to be a whistleblower, of which to me she is not. And you must remember this, Mutegi, and I think Kenyans are remembering this. Last year, when one Rugut, who was the Director General of National Youth Service, was intimidated and tried to transfer him. He was later on transferred to sports. When that issue came up, I said there were people who were scheming to loot National Youth Service. So I talked about it 1 year. So I knew things, and I was watching, and I knew that it was going to happen. It was just a time bomb, and it exploded this year. I knew they were scheming because it happened when money was coming from the Chinese. It happened when Parliament were being lobbied to put more money to National Youth Service for the programs they run. And I want to say the many programs that NYS were to run and they had started running are good programs. And they are using that to say we should back down. It is not only when you're doing a good project or running a very good program that you should remain in office. There are many other things. You have to take care of the resources, because this country is a poor country. We are a third world country. There are no resources. Can you look at Kenya National KNH, Kenya National Hospital? If there's no medicine, sometimes no facilities so we need resources we have to take care of the resources that we are having, so that we ensure that programs are running.
So you have told me that the reason why some members of parliament withdrew their signatures because of intimidation.
Intimidation.
There are
blackmail, and they were bribed, some of them.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was talking about. Now, they were blackmailed, bought, maybe.
Blackmailed, intimidated, bribed.
So what is the assurance that this time round you will succeed?
I will really try to succeed, and I want Kenyans to pray for me that I should succeed. Because if I don't succeed, and the looters are in a spree, they will finish this country. Give it 1 year. If we move with the same speed, you know, we are losing 1.8 billion every day. Like by today, Monday, by the end of the day, we'll lose 1.8 billion in terms of corruption, in terms of tax evasion, and many other.
Where do you get the figure from?
From the World Bank. They did a report, and they reported that we're losing 400 billion through corruption, 137 billion through tax evasion, and we've seen it. People no longer pay VAT. Hotels are running 2 receipts at the moment. We were in some hotels, and we realized they no longer use ATR machines.
What has happened? Because when Kibaki was the president of Kenya, there was serious collection of taxes. It was very successful. In fact, we didn't have to even go to World Bank and IMF. We were using our own money for development.
Kibaki had an agenda, and I miss Kibaki for that. He had an agenda. He was so focused. He didn't leave the Ministry of Finance to individuals to loot. He didn't leave the ministries to just run like that. He was in charge of planning and finance, even as a president of this republic. And you remember he went in 2003 after an accident and with his age. But he really tried to have our economy move from where we were in 2002 to when he left us in 2013. We were very okay. We had infrastructural facilities running. The universities were 6 when he found us. Universities, I don't even know the number at the moment. We have a lot of institutions, but different institutions, technical colleges, polytechnics, many other programs he was running. You see even the Ministry of Education, our leakage of exams. I doubt whether there is one single exam that was not leaked. You can imagine.
Not even one paper.
No one will trust us. I don't know where our kids will go. They will not go to schools in England. They will not go to schools. No, they will not have an opportunity to study even in different universities. Even those who go to South Africa and those who go to the US, they will not be allowed. With such kind of leakage and serious, which was on, it was all over social media. And when the people were in charge, when complaints started coming, that there is a lot of cheating.
You are a young person. Why do you think this looting is happening in this government?
Because
why is that? What's the reason?
The president and his deputy are not in charge.
Who is in charge?
The looters are in charge.
But you cannot say the president only. He is the president of the Republic of Kenya and of a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. When do you say they are not in charge?
They are not in charge. Because if you're in charge, you look at what the new president of Nigeria, what he's doing. And Nigeria was more than, in terms of corruption, they were worse than us. But at the moment, thieves are really scared. And I think they're moving to Kenya because there is a spree. You know, Kenya, if you are corrupt and you succeed to loot $1 billion, so long as you have some money to sort out EACC, which are just roadblocks and toll stations, and every institution at the moment in Kenya are corrupt, including Parliament where I sit. Majority of members of Parliament have lost focus. They are so cheap. Most of them who withdrew signatures on my motion were paid just 1 million shillings.
1 million?
Just 1 million.
You have the evidence?
We will get, we know they were paid.
All of them?
Most of them were paid. Majority of them were paid.
In fact, that's what...
Some were even paid not to sign. So it is a big thing. It's not just about those who withdrew.
Okay.
There are many others who are paid not to sign.
We want to think that a lot of Kenyans, a number of Kenyans actually, think that even your motion this time is forensicing. You have reached agreed so that maybe the people who didn't sign that time to get 1 million, now they will sign and get the 1 million.
No, no, no.
If the million was what was being paid, then it means that the new attempt again is to make Waiguru or whoever you are calling the system I'm not saying it's Waiguru who did it, but whoever is doing it, if it is done, people think that another, you now want another people, another group of people.
The mood is different.
It wouldn't go there anywhere.
The mood is different at the moment. Most members of Parliament have a lot of pressure from their bosses. That is the grassroots. The people who elected them, Kenyans who elected them. In fact, most of them are rushing to me, saying I need to sign. Why? My constituents are asking me whether I signed. So they are rushing. The mood is changing, and I want to say, Kenyans, you should continue putting pressure on your members of Parliament, so that we ensure that we have a serious fight and play an oversight role to the executive.
Have you seen the signatures? The 90 signatures?
Yeah.
Are there some of those who withdrew signatures have now signed again?
They have come. Yeah.
They have signed again?
A few cases, about 6 of them. They are rushing, saying, oh, I don't want the media to get that I withdrew. Oh, stuff like that. But they are coming back signing. The mood is different. The mood is different.
But do you think that same Parliament, which is, as you were saying, is very corrupt, and even Duale is saying this is so corrupt, do you think the same Parliament, when even if the motion goes through, they will pass to impeach Waiguru?
They will, because the mood is different at the moment. Majority of us.
What has changed?
You know, Kenyans are feeling now the heat on the cause of the economic crisis. And they're really asking themselves, how did you get it wrong? Of course, there are many other international issues that are affecting our economy. But one of the local issues that is really impacting negatively on our economy is corruption, which is playing a role, I think, about 60% of what you're feeling. You remember I talked about the railway in 2013, that it was very expensive. You've seen Tanzanians are doing theirs 2,700 kilometers at the cost of 870 billion. Ours is 600 kilometers at the cost of 327 billion. And ours is not double track, it is single track, and it is diesel. Tanzania is double track, it is electric, and they are doing at the cost of 870 for 2,700 kilometers. The reason why we have no resources is because our projects or our programs are very expensive. Even the looting youth fund, you see people purporting to have done some consultancy services for 180 million. What are you consulting in youth fund that will cost you 180 million? Even the consultants who do consultancy services for big things like bridges that go over auctions in China or Japan, they don't cost that much. What is making our services very expensive in this country? You saw even in National Youth Service, there is a company that purported to have done a blueprint on the vision for National Youth Service, and they copy-paste a report that was done By the same ministry, when Mohamed Kuti was the Minister for Youth, he did a blueprint on National Youth Service, on how they should do their programs. And now someone copy-pasted it, and he was paid 40 million Kenya shillings for doing the same thing, for just changing the names from a different company and purporting to have done it. Then you're being paid. Why are our services that expensive? Because people are looting. Let me tell you something about the NYS. The people who were looting NYS started from overpricing things. They started from supplying goods that are worth 35,000, and then they are paid 400,000. When they realized it was so easy to even get away with it and loot the 400,000, they started adding zeros to make it 4 million, those 35 million to go to 350 million, those with 80 million to do 800 million. That is exactly what is happening in most other ministries. We are not saying just Waiguru. This is a rotten society. But the president must take charge of this country and say he drew a line of anybody who crosses that line of misusing resources must step aside or quit or face prosecution. It's another thing again to step aside and face prosecution and waste a lot of time with the courts. We've seen scenarios where people loot 5 billion or 8 billion. Then they go to court and they are given 1 million shillings as bond. Then the cases run forever. We need a recovery strategy so that we recover the resources that we lose.
But the president of the Supreme Court is concerned.
Everyone is concerned.
I
was reading the Standard newspapers yesterday, and I saw people making comments. In fact, out of 7 national leaders, where Musalia Mudavadi gave a comment, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga gave a comment, Duale, the majority leader, gave a comment, everyone, including the deputy president. It's only the deputy president who said there was nothing wrong. But everyone, the Chief Justice said that we have a serious issue. He even called corruption as a 4th organ of government, that we have 4 organs of government, where judiciary, parliament, executive, and corruption as an organ of government. It is serious. By the time a whole Chief Justice, a president of a Supreme Court, calling that, even the majority leader, saying that we need, and I said earlier on about early this year, before the president came to parliament, I said it was high time the president should declare corruption a national disaster. The majority leader has already said, and that is the time when everyone should just resign and go home. We do another election for other people to come. I'm longing for a day that Kenyan leaders should take responsibility. When you can't fix things, when you can't move things, when you can't change things, step aside for others to assume office. Even including some of us in parliament. We are not doing anything. We are earning a huge salary for doing nothing.
You yourself were involved in some incidents in some roadblock, some Wembridge.
It was about corruption. But I was taken to court to face, they said it was, I was the one who was corrupt. In fact, I appeared on that list, the 175 individuals. But I'm in court at the moment, and this is an issue that I cannot discuss before. It is a matter that...
So I'm saying you're not also very clean, you're in court.
But I went to court on a totally different matter. It's not about corruption. In fact, majority of the 175, like I told you, were not, had no economic crimes against them, me included. And I think that is where we got it wrong. That 175 was cooked by people who are close to State House. Some in State House, some are part of these people you're seeing they're looting. It was cooked story, the 175. And you've seen even EACC are on record being subjects of some individuals, because they were meant to investigate Waiguru. Where on earth can you take a report? There is, if it is a question of efficiency, there is efficiency monitoring unit where they need to monitor on in terms of efficiency of different institutions, where NYS and devolution as a ministry is involved. You cannot report back. DPP is on record having said Waiguru must give a testimony. whether she's a whistleblower, whether she's a witness, whether she's responsible, she must give a statement.
But she has never given a statement.
Why? For a simple reason, you know, institutions have failed. They are subjects of Waiguru, EACC. Even most of those people who went through, and I like the way Honorable Duale has put it, that we need to vet all those individuals who are seated in those offices. And EACC is a rotten institution. They are more corrupt than what they are accusing others of corruption. Anybody who faces EACC, there is a price for them. If you loot 100 million, they will tell you, can you part with 20 million, we clear you out. And they will give you a clean bill of health. They have done that before to many other individuals that were perceived to have taken resources. Because we lose resources. If I ask you, if we are losing 400 billion, where is this money going? Who are these people responsible? We are yet to see one person facing prosecution and paying back the money. We have no recovery strategy because we have to recover those resources. When you look at hospitals have no medicine.
You have said that before. Let me ask you, this money which is being looted in this country, where is it going to?
Some are investing out of
where I don't see any investment. What I'm seeing here is structures being built by Chinese. Where is this? Where are they? The looters taking the money?
Some of it is being invested all over this country. People are building serious homes. 500 million homes, 250 million homes. They're building 25-story building in this town. But majority or a good amount goes outside this country. Some have invested in South Africa. I was in the US last year, and I found out there was a developer doing 50 units of Kenyas.
Which state?
In the US, in Missouri. And all that money was looted from Kenyans. You know, the funny part of this country is that even the leadership have lost hope in this country. So they want to invest outside. They have homes all over. They have homes in Dubai, they have homes in South Africa, they have homes in the US and Canada, because they have lost hope in this country. And it is a time of the way we are moving, where young people finish school and they have no jobs, where young people have gotten education and skills, but they cannot access a job opportunity anywhere. It is a time of our young people are losing trust with our leadership. Our young people have lost hope. We need to instill that hope. And if the president wants to be serious, Kenyans want to see those who are responsible for resources that they are looting to step aside and face prosecution. That is the only sure way you can give hope to Kenyans who cannot even afford meals. At the moment they are skipping meals.
Probably some people think that if you fight corruption in this country, the Jubilee government will collapse.
That is what they are saying, because it is so entrenched into Jubilee that if you push, if you remove some individuals or tell them to step aside, it will bring down Jubilee. We had that when I started Waiguru motion. They said Keter wants to collapse Jubilee. And I was like, oh yeah, then there are individuals who are more Jubilee than others. Because others stepped aside, about 5 ministers. No, they said, no, this is a woman. And okay, when women step aside, the Jubilee collapses. I don't get it. And again, I thought Ngilu is a woman, unless you convince me otherwise. I thought many others. I've seen many CEOs who have stepped aside, and they are women. What is so special with Waiguru? Unless she's a prime minister or something. I don't get it.
Do you think you will succeed?
I will succeed, because Kenyans are praying for me every second. Kenyans are praying for me. I was in Coast yesterday. I was in Mombasa, and I met Kenyans in Mtwapa when I was crossing to Kilifi. I met Kenyans in Bamburi, and they told me, don't relent. Keter, don't withdraw. We are giving you our support. If we were to be in that parliament, we would have given you our signatures for free. In fact, when I was in Nakuru, some of them, I think about 2 weeks ago, when I was looking for signatures, they were telling me that why don't you give us your list we sign? Because they really need, and you know, we cannot leave those Kenyans to lose hope. At least someone must do something.
But you know, even if the way you have described the rot in the system, It's like it's all over. It's permeating every aspect of the...
It's all over.
All over.
It's all over.
So even if you remove Waiguru, there will not much difference.
No, the president must take...
why Waiguru? Why not
step?
Why are not other institutions?
But this is worst. You see, you see, she has about 7 other institutions within that ministry. Let me give you 5 where there are a lot of looting. You've seen the National Youth Service.
Yes, that's one.
And now the Youth Fund. There are issues in Huduma Center. There are issues with IDPs. Where IDPs, there is a list where some people, some coast IDPs, were settled and they were paid over 400,000. We have lost a lot of money through IDPs, and there is a discrimination. Others were paid 200,000, others were paid 400,000, others were bought land and they were houses constructed.
The circumstances are not the same. There must be some difference.
What difference? IDPs are IDPs.
No, I mean it depends. Some IDPs had land before, others were just businessmen, some were squatters.
Let me tell you, like for my case, I have some constituents who were found by the white settlers in forest. Those are the Doropos, where every Kenyan knows Doropos were found in that forest. They live in a forest setup. And you know, when
if you are compositing a Doropo and then compositing a businessman whose multi-million business was ruined, it's not the same.
No. Hawkers who were in not a multi-million businessman. In fact, the people who were to benefit were those poor people. But if you check on that list, and there is someone who has brought a motion that is before us, so that we do we investigate further on IDP settlement, because there is a lot of looting. I told you, in my constituency, they were paid 200,000, and in some quarter, where they were also forest effectives, they were paid 400,000. So that is discrimination. You can't tell me when you're in Nandi, you are better off, so that you need 200,000 to settle, and when you are in another place, as a forest effective, you need 400,000 to settle. That is ridiculous.
So you would like elections sooner than 2017?
We should. I think Kenyans, we have to take a responsibility at the moment and say things, we must fix them. If we don't fix in 2 years, 2017 is far. If we continue looting the same way we are looting, we will not get there before we all perish as a country. There are no resources. Look at Parliament. The other day they had no tissue papers, they had nothing. Even electricity was switched off because they could not pay bills. Parliament missing even tissue papers. It's a serious issue. County governments have no resources. They are given weekly basis, 2 million, 3 million, because looting is serious. And I've seen Jubilee running down and saying, I'm a member of Jubilee, but we must fix things from within. This Jubilee government has failed Kenyans, and I have to take responsibility. I can't hide as a Kenyan, as a leader, because it will come up. Like you remember in 2013, I talked about most of these issues. Last year I talked about some of the issues, like even touching on NYS, and you've seen now. So I'm saying, as leaders, we must be ready to take responsibility. We must be ready to change this country. We must be ready to manage our resources. Those in Parliament must oversight the executive. Tyrant of numbers. You see, people are missing a point. We have a different constitution, where Parliament, there is no opposition and government. In the current setup, all of us must oversight executive and other state organs, so that we bring change. But when you start saying tyrant of numbers to protect those who are looting our economy, that one I will not be party to it.
Well, the other day, in fact, in today's newspapers, there is proposal to tax, and you passed that motion the other day with using your tyrant numbers, that now you tax motor vehicles.
Some of us will post it. Many Jubilee members opposed it.
But it went through.
It went through because of the confusion in that parliament. The leadership of that parliament, the majority leadership, the whips are not focused on issues that are touching on. They were busy trying to save Waiguru, trying to advise members to withdraw their signatures. If they were so concerned with the Kenyans, then we should have ensured that we cannot pass laws that are going to impact negatively on them. They were busy with other issues, lobbying members, your signature is in Keter list, can you remove it? Someone is going to pay you, and you, were you having some intention to sign? Don't sign. Imagine. And we are there with earning a salary that is maintained by taxpayers' money.
So what is the process now that we have got the signatures? What next? What happens?
The second step is to take it to give a notice of motion.
When is that going to be?
When we resume. We are on recess this week. We are resuming next week. So I think by Tuesday or Wednesday, then the motion will be before that house.
Next week or Wednesday?
Then I will need 117 members of parliament.
But you have only 90?
No, I have 90 to take it to the floor.
Yes.
But once it is a subject before the floor, for it to move to the next level, where you form a committee of 11 members, I must get 117. If you remember the Kaimenyi's motion, yes, it lacked the 117. It had over 88. That's 90. Is you need a minimum of 88 members, which is a quarter of that house, because a quarter is about 7.2, and because we are dealing with human beings, then you have to make it to 88. So the minimum threshold, the minimum numbers that you need to have to support your motion for it to be a subject of that house, then it must be above 88. Then once it is before that house, it will be discussed by members. Then they will vote. It will be subjected into vote. If you manage to get 117, those who are supporting it, 117, and imagine even if over 117 or opposing, let's say 150 or opposing, but you have 117 supporting, then it will be taken to committee level, where Parliament will give, will clear the 11-member committee to see issues and even give those we have accused, in this case Waiguru, hearing. She will come there and she will get some hearing. If she has witnesses, she will. We do it like High Court, and we have the powers of the High Court to do it at the committee level.
Certain for Aldous, I think Adan Kenyan has moved that outrageous. He's moving that outrageous bill. I think he's a member of the Parliamentary Service Commission.
He is a member of the Parliamentary Service Commission, and we realized it was a cover-up. There is a lot of money resources that we lost in Parliament. So the being a member, it was really wanting.
They stole 500 million.
Yeah.
And they have been taken to court, the staff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are
what has it got to do with this?
It was a cover-up, because it was we were to discuss further. So they were diverting their attention. They were diverting their attention so that we don't focus on who really stole this money, what is happening. As a member of that PSC, it was wanting, because asking us that our spouses should have diplomatic passports. Yes. And I don't need a diplomatic passport myself. How can I forget for my wife to have one? I think it was a tactic to divert the attention of that house, so that we don't really ask questions about where is the 500 million shillings. It was a diversion, because coming from...
But if the money was stolen by staff, that had nothing to do with the members of Parliament.
Some commissioners must be party to it. You know, Parliamentary Service Commission as commissioners.
And the commissioners really are members of Parliament.
They cannot. Yeah, they are members. They cannot run away from that. They must tell us.
Who is the chairman? Is the speaker?
The chairman is the speaker. Kenan is one of the commissioners. There are many commissioners from the Senate and National Assembly.
So what do you say about these allowances? You say it's something to divert the attention. It's not a serious motion.
Because no one is supporting it. If you read the mood of that house, no one is supporting this. It is putting us into a negative image. It's giving us a very negative image for no good reason. We don't understand where Kenan cooked it. Because even when you are to have any motion in that Parliament, you must lobby members, you must talk to them, you must make them understand. He didn't talk to anybody, meaning that he was not even intending to win. You know, when you're moving a motion, you must succeed. And for you to succeed, you have to lobby members so that they are on your side. They must understand, so that when you will be before that house, you will be reading from the same script. But for that case, he did not lobby any member. He did not discuss with any member. He surprised all of us. In fact, majority of members were reading from newspapers and watching from TV stations.
You have painted a very gloomy picture of our country. You are a young person, you seem to be having no hope. Who should ring the bell? Who should ring the bell?
The president must take responsibility. Tell him to stop.
But he seems to say everything
is...
Yesterday he said everything is
He
fine.
does not know. He is locked up somewhere, I don't know. He doesn't know. You know when you are in State House, where you don't do anything, even a pen to sign, someone is carrying it. You only pick it and sign. Nothing. It's so easy. Our president must wake up now.
But I could understand that from people like Kibaki or people like Moi, who are old people. The president and the deputy are relatively very young people.
But they have.
Why are they
That's why I'm
not in charge?
The reason why we supported them, we thought they were really young and they were going to perform. That is the only reason why we supported them. Personally, I'm not a tribalist. In 2002, when I was very young and I was in the university, I supported Kibaki. Look at the change he brought. In 2007, for some reasons, I opposed him. Because there are some people around him, not Kibaki himself, who really messed up with this economy. And there were again ethnicity coming up. That is why it became the product of 2008. In 2013, I supported Uhuru Kenyatta. And I'm not saying I supported it because William Ruto was the deputy president. Because I believed in that. I believed in William Ruto. I believed in the president.
Are you still friends with them?
It is not about friendship. We are in politics. There is nothing friendship. It is about you perform. If you don't perform, and I'm in the National Assembly, where I have an obligation to play an oversight role. It is not about friendship. Friendship aside, even Raila and Uhuru are friends. But they are in different political... Kenyans should understand that. Yeah. And I want to say, because we are in a mood where there is a lot of hate speech among most of us leaders. Yeah. I want to urge Kenyans that they should not be reduced into saying this is Omondi, this is Nyaga, this is Kipto, this is Njeri, this is Amisi. The leadership are very close, because there is three aspects of life. There is the social life, the economic life, and the political life. You can disagree with someone in the social setup, but it doesn't mean that you have disagreed in the economic setup and the political setup. So I might have disagreed with them politically, and I'm still in Jubilee, but I'm calling all those members who have resorted to sycophants. You know, the reason why we are failing in that parliament is majority of them are sycophants. They will tell you this is a cup of tea, but I need to call my boss to confirm whether this is a cup of tea. Because if he's saying this is not a cup of tea, then it should not be a cup of tea.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana. I hope viewers will get Mr. Keter's view, and I hope he gets maybe he will succeed, maybe not. Maybe people will be compromised, or maybe they will be intimidated as claimed. Let's see what happens.
Thank you so much.